All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are diving deep into one of the longest, most complex manhunts in the entire history of the FBI. We're talking about the search for an incredibly meticulous bank robber they nicknamed the Shooist.
Now, that was the chilling reality for banks all across the American West in the late 1980s. I mean, just imagine it. You're up against this phantom criminal who pulls off his crimes with absolute military precision.
So let's get into it. Our story kicks off with a string of robberies, so perfectly executed, so clean, that investigators honestly felt like they were chasing a ghost.
So, this guy was not your typical bank robber, not by a long shot. His whole MO was just different. It was aggressive and frankly, terrifyingly effective. He'd burst in, fire a warning shot straight into the ceiling. I mean, can you imagine? Take over the entire bank, forget the vault, just grab the quick cash and poof, gone. And on top of that, he wore these elaborate disguises and left behind zero evidence. No fingerprints, nothing. Investigators had virtually nothing to go on.
Yeah, see, this is what's called a takeover robbery. And Special Agent Jack Kelly, who was the FBI's main guy for bank robberies, he knew this put the suspect in a totally different league. Think about it. Less than 5% of bank robberies are takeovers. But Kelly pointed out that most of those guys don't even fire their weapons. So our guy? He was a small percentage of an already tiny percentage. That's what made him so unbelievably dangerous.
So right from the very first robbery back in San Diego in 1987, the problem was obvious. The security photos, they were grainy, basically useless. And the witnesses, well, they were so terrified by the gunshot that their descriptions were all over the place. So the big question for the FBI was, how in the world do you identify a man who seems to leave nothing behind but pure fear?
All right, so as the years start to tick by, this ghost's reign of terror just expands. It forces law enforcement from multiple states to team up for what became a really frustrating and relentless hunt.
I mean, look at this. The Shooist was incredibly mobile. We're talking about a 1,400-mile area. He'd hit banks in Texas, then just vanish, only to pop up again in California. By 88, he's done 6 more heists. Then, through 89 and 90, he's expanding his territory and has netted almost $400,000. And by 1991, the whole hunt moves north to Washington. So yeah, they formed a joint task force, but this phantom, he was always one step ahead.
So the investigators think, okay, let's start with forensics. This was their first major shot at him, and it was a complete dead end. They found slugs from his .38 caliber revolver, but because he fired them into the ceiling, they were so mangled, so damaged, they were totally useless for any kind of ballistics match. So even his weapon was a ghost.
Okay, dead end number 2. The disguises. The task force figured his disguises were probably super elaborate, maybe even using makeup to change his skin tone. Agents were literally walking into costume shops with these blurry photos asking, hey, you recognize this wig, this mustache? And of course, they got nothing. It made any kind of reliable photo ID completely impossible.
And then you get dead end number 3, the casino lead. Now this one seemed really promising, right? Robbers often use casinos to launder cash. So casino security finds this high roller, a regular, who looks a heck of a lot like the guy in the photos. But when agents track him down, his alibis were rock solid. It was yet another brick wall, just deepening the years and years of frustration for this task force.
It got to the point where even the lead investigator, Special Agent Jack Kelly, had to kind of tip his hat to the guy. He said, you had to give him some credit. He was good. He respected the guy's professionalism. But he always held on to that hope that maybe, just maybe, the guy would make one tiny mistake, that one little piece of the puzzle that would finally make everything click into place.
And then, after 7 long years of hitting nothing but dead ends, it happened. 2 critical breaks in the case, back to back, that would finally give this phantom a face and a name.
So you gotta ask, right? After all those years of failures, how do you finally catch a ghost? What is it that changes after nearly a decade of coming up empty? Well, believe it or not, it all started with a single, much clearer picture.
Okay, so during a robbery in San Jose in 1992, the Shootist's luck finally started to run out. The bank's security camera got the best shots of his face they'd ever had. It was finally enough for a skilled forensic artist to create a really detailed composite sketch of what he might look like without all the disguises. And this was huge. For the first time ever, law enforcement had a plausible image of their man, and you better believe they sent it everywhere.
And then, on May 11th, 1994, the biggest break of them all lands right in their lap. an anonymous phone call. And this tip wasn't vague. It was incredibly specific. It gave them a name, Johnny Williams, a car, a red four-door, and it even mentioned his accomplice was his wife. The caller even threw in this chilling warning that Williams had a suicide pact and had sworn he would never be taken alive.
So agents immediately start pulling DMV records for every single Johnny Williams in California. And this is the turning point. When they pull up the photo for a Johnny Madison Williams, it was a dead ringer for the sketch. I mean, look at that. The artist's drawing and the DMV photo, they're an exact match. After 7 long, frustrating years, they finally had their man. So now, with a name and a face, the FBI launched its final operation. The goal, to corner and capture one of the most prolific and elusive bank robbers in their history.
Agent Kelly had this hunch that Williams was due to strike again up in the Seattle area. So when a robbery fitting the MO happened there, he was ready. He'd already flagged Williams' credit cards, and boom, sure enough, a hit comes back from a hotel. An FBI team quietly descends on the place, they spot his red car in the parking lot, and they know they've got him cornered.
Now what's really cool here is how the FBI used the robber's own meticulous nature against him. See, they didn't want a big shootout in the hotel room. So when Williams calls the front desk asking for a typewriter, of all things, to write a letter, they see their opening. They lure him out of his room and into this small contained office near the lobby, setting a perfect, carefully planned trap.
Williams walks right into the office and is immediately surrounded. He was completely, totally caught off guard. And just like that, after an 8-year chase, the Shooist was arrested. Quietly, without a single struggle, and for once, he was unarmed.
And in his confession, Williams was surprisingly candid. He actually asked the agents, "So, how many robberies do you have me for?" They told him they knew about 48, and Williams just corrects them, saying something like, "You probably have all 56." And then he lays out 8 more heists they hadn't even solved. Incredible! And this just goes to show you the sheer scale of his operation. In a briefcase, agents found a detailed logbook of every single robbery. The date, the bank, exactly how much he took. It confirmed that he had stolen nearly $1 million over his entire criminal career. The same meticulousness he used to rob banks, he used to keep records. And so, Johnny Madison Williams, the man who outsmarted the FBI for almost a decade, was sentenced to 92 years in federal prison. It was the final, definitive end to his unprecedented reign of terror.
You know, when you look back, the Shootist's downfall wasn't one big dramatic mistake. It was really years of dogged persistence from the FBI, finally meeting a single clear photo and one crucial phone call. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In any long chase like this, what finally decides the outcome? Is it the hunter's patience, or is it the hunted's exhaustion?